Good afternoon and welcome back. Kent Bain with 9 Business Group and Elevate Business Spotlight interviews. We have the pleasure today of Justin Slimm joining us. Justin, welcome, and please introduce yourself, your company, and what sets you apart, what makes you different than your competition.
Thanks, Ken. Well, thanks for chatting with me today. It's really exciting to see some like-minded people who are looking to grow and develop local businesses and help out with that. So it's great to chat with you today. So yeah, my name is Justin Slimm. Yes, Slimm is my legal last name, and my company is called Slimm Fitness. If I did not get involved in health and fitness with a last name like that, I didn't know what I was doing in terms of marketing. So I decided that, a few years ago to start a fitness and nutrition company. And I've been helping train people online, virtually through the COVID pandemic and beyond. I've been in business for about 3.5 years. Prior to that, I was a personal trainer who spent probably 6-7 years training people in studio, in person, at several different group studios and one-on-one personal training. And then prior to that, I kind of went on my own health journey where, I was a former overweight person going through college, university, all of that stuff. And I ended up losing 70 pounds in a year because I had a goal of making the NHL as a hockey referee. It's a really niche thing, but I was pushing to get to the NHL. And I think what makes me unique is probably that aspect of it, the fact that I had an athletic goal that I was hoping to accomplish at the time, albeit very small route. There's not a lot of hockey officials out there, but the people who are involved in it understand the dedication, understand the amount of work that you do need to put in. And I think also what makes me step out too is that I'm not willing to waver on who I am as a person. This is who I am. It's me, and this is my personal brand, right? So growing and developing that, and just being who I am and not, sacrificing to, certain fads or trends or anything like that, just sticking to what I know to be true, I think is what people finds me to be really genuine and really open and honest and have that integrity.
So do you have a lot of experience in the officiating role before you went down that journey? Like, were you at a high level already as an official?
Yeah, I was a hockey official for 17 years.
Wow.
It was my first part-time job. Actually, that's not true. My first part-time job was a paper delivery boy, but I did that because I had an entrepreneurial spirit. We can get into that if you want a little bit later. But another part-time job I started was hockey officiating. And the reason being is I, just like any kid, wanted to play hockey growing up, but I had a really late start. I didn't start until I was 12 years old. And for you hockey parents, you know that that's quite late. And at that point, I hadn't gone through puberty. But during my second, third year, when I'm 13, 14, I sprouted like 6 inches over one summer. Well, needless to say, I went from non-contact hockey to contact hockey, and I just couldn't take a hit anymore. So I got injured, decided to hang up the skates. It wasn't fun anymore because I was on my butt all the time, just couldn't stand up. I was like a fish out of water, like a giraffe, learning to walk for the first time. I was really out of space there. So yeah, I started with hockey officiating because one of my friends really was like, hey, I'm doing this. It's kind of a part-time thing. We're making $15 an hour, which back then was like more than you could make at Dairy Queen or McDonald's.
Yeah.
So I decided, yeah, like absolutely, why not? But what ended up happening was went through the ranks, went through everything. Excuse me. I had a number of goals that I was hoping for, but after 17 years, yeah, I ended up doing the WHL. I had a sniff at the NHL. I did a couple of camps and rookie camps and everything like that. Didn't quite make it because I had a different career that like you almost hit that fork in the road. I was also in broadcasting and journalism, so at that time I had to make a decision like, what's more important, broadcasting and family or trying to chase this officiating dream? But needless to say, I took the former route, and here we are today. But I'm still heavily involved in the officiating community now, and I'm leading the fitness and nutrition programs for Hockey Alberta, which is, it's just come full circle for me.
Fantastic. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing. So back to the business side, what is the biggest challenge you've overcome since going into business? How did you tackle it / solve it? And what does it look like today?
I had no idea what I was doing when I started my business. That was my biggest challenge. I had no idea. Like I didn't know what it meant to get clients. I didn't know what it meant to get insurance. I didn't know what it meant to do accounting and set up a WordPress site and set up online platforms to deliver my training, or get certified in the nutrition side of things. All of that was just, I just had a vision. I just had a vision of, I want to start Slimm Fitness. And the first thing I did, I remember before I did anything else, I went to the local registry and I applied for my business name, just to, I want to get that solidified right now, because then it's more serious, it's more concrete, it's more appropriate. The second thing I did was I hired a coach. And I think that that was probably one of the most beneficial things that I did, because he helped me understand like how to attract clients and how to focus on a call to action and how to focus on customer service, and all of that was really, really beneficial. So I think that those were the two biggest things I did, but I made so many mistakes along the way. Like, I'm still making mistakes today, and I'm okay with that. I think if you're not making those mistakes, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not developing, and you're not willing to see that there are other ways of doing things rather than just a dogmatic approach. So I think, yeah, continuing to make mistakes, and I'm okay with that.
Well, and it's not even, for mistakes are fine, but I think for a lot of my clients and a lot of people I know, it's not necessarily about the mistakes, it's about growing a business. And whether you go from 100,000 to 500,000 or from 8 million to 45 million, a client put it to me so eloquently. We're doing a workshop one day and kind of a bit of an annual planning, growth club planning day. And at the end, we kind of, after everybody said, what did you get from today? What are you looking forward to next year, sort of thing. And he stood up and he goes, the best thing that came of today and what I'm looking forward to next year is a different set of problems. Because it's not necessarily about making mistakes, but as you grow, it's not always perfect. And we don't know what we don't know until we start building it and scaling it. And so for him, it's like, because I think as business owners, what frustrates me anyway, and most of my clients, is when that problem doesn't go away and we can't solve it. And it's 6 months after 6 months or 2 years after years, like when you are having the same problem, month after month, year after year, it's not fun. And that's time to definitely get, talk it out, find a coach, hire somebody, solve it, because that's going to hold you back. Or you need to stop worrying about it and let it go. Because either way, it's holding you back. Either it hasn't been done or it's mentally holding you back because you're putting a lot of time and energy into it.
That's it. Yeah.
It's a great story. And what is one thing now that you wish you knew when you started your business?
That the product doesn't have to be perfect. I spent so many times ideating and reformatting and building anything before I launched anything. And when I first launched, was it perfect? No. Like, even to this day, I don't want it to be perfect, because especially when it comes to fitness and nutrition, you have to have the ability to pivot with your clients based on their lifestyle, their routines, their habits, their commitments. Are they a single parent with 4 kids who can only carve out 15 minutes per day to get movement in? Or are they someone who's a young athlete, lives at home, they've got their rent and board paid for, and they're able to train up to 3 hours per day? So you just have to know that the ability to pivot and being able to change that product like on a moment's notice is something that I think I wish I knew when I first started. Because I'll tell you right now, the number of times where I've just been thrown a curveball and it's like, oh, well, that's not what I offer, but I could do this, right? And I'm not saying be everything to everyone. That's not what I'm saying at all, right? I think I've created a niche right now where I am working with a lot of hockey officials right now, just because of my story. But at the same time, it's just knowing that you have to be bendable in certain areas. And I think that that's something less rigid, more bendable.
Excellent. That's great insight. When you look at the fitness industry, when I look back over the last 2 or 3 years, the fitness industry has definitely taken it on the chin in many ways. A lot of adapting, a lot of people moving online, a lot of gyms and fitness stores closing. But if you look forward for the next 18 to 24 months, kind of blinders onto the past, what are we taking from 2020, 2021? And what does the industry look like? What are the top 3 challenges that you and the industry face in the next 18 to 24 months?
Oh man, number one, I think it's misinformation. And what I mean by misinformation is detoxes, cleanses, things that are not supported by medical evidence that are still being sold online. Detox teas, things that are potentially harmful to people, We have a responsibility in the fitness and nutrition industry to provide science-backed evidence to basically deliver this to our clients. And the problem we're facing now is anybody on the internet can be a fitness influencer. If they have a six pack, they can be considered a fitness influencer, but they're not able to tell me how they got there. Oh, just hard work, just hard work. That's all it is. And I drink this lemon tea in the morning. And by the way, if you check out the discount code in my thing, here's where you can get your supplement discounts. And that's not fair to the industry, the people who tired and poured blood, sweat, and tears into this to really understand, like, there is much more. There's so many different nuanced pieces to fitness and nutrition, and we're still learning every single day. The top nutrition scientists and fitness experts are still learning every single day that there's different ways, different modalities, other pieces of equipment that we can use to get to the desired outcome or the desired result. So I think we just need to put our thinking caps on, especially as consumers, to realize that if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And that is really important. So just really be wary if somebody promises you results in 2 weeks or 6 weeks or something. Just think critically before giving them your information, your credit card information, all of that stuff. So I would just say that's number one. Number two, I think that the fitness industry needs to do a better job at marketing ourselves. If you go to the checkout at any single grocery counter, you will see the cover. Someone is oiled up and photoshopped and they're looking great. They've worked, and I'm not going to give any less credit to them for how hard they worked to be on the cover of a magazine. Like, they absolutely worked hard to get there, but someone's just getting a quick glance at that. I don't think that's fair for somebody who has been working their butt off for 6 months and they're not seeing similar results. So I think that that's something we need to do better as an industry as well. In terms of, like, yeah, online and like hybrid and what we learned from COVID and everything like that, is we do need to, as an industry, have the ability to offer more products than just one. I think some of the big box gyms out there, and I'm not going to name any names, but they really struggled because they didn't have anything available on a moment's notice when it came to, we need to do something online. What are we doing? What's our streaming option? What's our app platform? And to this day, people still aren't 100% comfortable in going back to the gym, and that's absolutely fine. We're not going to force people to go to the gym, but in order to get that amount of recommended movement throughout the week, it's important that we do have some sort of offering. And I think the fitness industry can learn a lot from that.
Wow, that was concise. Well done. But yes, I think there is a big challenge, and it's not just fitness. I think I got some kids at home, 12 and 15. I just think about the instant society we live in, or the perceived instant society. My favorite one is my 12-year-old loves Dude Perfect, which are amazing dudes on YouTube. They have their own channel, and they're the guys that do the stupid human tricks and the bottle flips and the blah, blah, blah. And I laugh because he sits there and he goes, well, I want to do that. I said, that's great. The reason these guys get so dang excited when they accomplish one of those things is the case spent the last 5 days doing it full time. You saw a 30-second video clip of a bottle flip. Hey, that was cool, or a basketball shot or whatever it was. And it's like, you have no idea how many hours these guys put into it. But what do we see? 30-second clip. Hey, that was cool. And I think it's not just your industry. It's I think it was Richard Branson, probably going to get the quote wrong, but it's the overnight success, 20 years in the making. Or 10 years in the making. It's you start a business, you scale it, whether you're losing weight, fitness. You don't just decide to run a marathon, right? There's 6, 9, 12 months into the planning to make that champion a champion. And it's not, well, even running a marathon is not instant. It's a couple hours long, but yeah, they kind of look at it and say, well, you run a marathon, I can too. Sure. If you put 3 or 4 hours a day into it, go nuts. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is your definition of a successful business?
Well, number one, if we're talking about like the profits and margins and everything like that, obviously you have to be a profitable business. I think that that's the first metric of anything. If you're not seeing profits as laid out by you and your revenue goals and your partners or whatever you have, then I think that needs to be number one. Number two, I think that for me personally, just speaking about my business, is being at peace with the way that I'm serving my clients, right? I want to lay my head at night, go to bed peaceful, and feel that I gave them the best information, gave them the best effort, gave them the best training program that I possibly could have to help them in their direction towards the goals that they want to get to. I mean, I can think about some of the consultation calls that I've had with a few people before they've signed up with me in tears, because they've led in a direction for the past 25 years and they've been sold this idea that they need to be a certain way. So for me, giving them permission to be who they are in their fitness and nutrition journey, realizing that this is going to take time, and just being at peace with that at the end of the day, that I was able to help them just a little bit more, feel a little bit happier with their decisions, feeling a little bit better about themselves and their own skin. To me, that's what means my business is successful. It's always been a side hustle for me. So the revenue isn't always my top of mind. Obviously, I do want to grow and I want to get more successful and develop and build. But at the same time, I just want to have that number one top-notch customer service experience at the end of the day. So I think for me, those are the top two things.
Excellent. No, so really what it comes down to is profitability, consistent revenue, believing in and trusting that your service is of service and adding value to the client base.
That's it.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
One last question, my favorite. What do you want to be known for?
Oh, this is I'm gonna get a little deep here, Kent. Okay, so myself, I grew up without a father. I've never met him. My mom and him never got married. I know a first name. That's it. And I'm 36 years old. So I've never had that father figure in my life. But now for me, I've got two young girls. I want to be known for the person who is able to walk them down the aisle and be there for their graduation and have the ability to see my grandkids and play with them someday. To me, that's what I want to be known for. I don't want to be known for the number of dollars in my bank account or what kind of cars I drive or anything like that. My biggest thing is leaving a legacy that I never had for my children. So
very real. And I think to that point, it's a great way to finish. I'm just going to wrap up. And I think that's the one of the things I love about business. And it's a love-hate relationship, because one aspect, business to me is nothing more than a vehicle to help us get what we want in life, big or small. It can be a big dream, a little dream, doesn't matter. And that's the love-hate relationship, because it is that powerful that it can give us those choices in life. But if we don't respect it and treat it, it can destroy us and rip us apart. And so it very much is, once you find your jam and why you're doing it, the rest is easy. So well said, Justin. Thanks again for joining us. And for people who want to learn a little bit more about your story and how to engage with you, where would they find you?
Yeah, the best place, check me out on social media, Slimm. That's 2 M's in Slimm. So SLIMM Fitness on all social media platforms. You can Google that. You'll be able to easily find me. But I'm pretty active on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Those are my 3 kind of top social media platforms that I'm on for sure. And then that'll link to my website as well.
Excellent. Thanks again and have an amazing day.
Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome.